Hello, this is First Fire Non-Assault Move. Welcome back to the 14th video in the War in the East series. Let's get right into the situation report for the three army groups. Army Group North, the Finns remain in place with a no attack line, keeping them in check. Soviets are happy about that. To the north here, where we have the northernmost boundary of Army Group North, we started to push east with these handful of infantry divisions. We made some good progress and we mauled some of the Soviet divisions, and that got their attention. Drawing from this massive blob of formations, the Soviets are starting to push their divisions to the front and try and stop our progress here, which they very well might, but I think with deliberate attacks we can still get some very good results with what we're looking at here, and we're still going to do that. Alright, Pskov. The more we press east and north, the more we get stretched, because we don't have the troop concentration in this sector as we do other places. So we're still going to attack. Probably not through here, but the middle part of Army Group North's front, we still are going to conduct the offensive and still try and make some deliberate attacks on these Soviet divisions along this line. It looks like they got ambitious and started to try and encircle the only two motorized divisions, a Panzer and a motorized, for 56 Panzer Corps, and that's no bueno. That's not happening. But they did get them out of supply, which I guess mission accomplished. 15% fuel and 12% fuel. So they're not going to be doing much this turn, but we have still a strong buildup of our own infantry here that can do some damage in this area. The northern shoulder of Army Group Center continues to be stretched out, but it's been bulked up a little bit, knowing that the Soviets will probably continue the attack and mass up. They have to pay mind to this north of them in Velikai Luki area, so they can't get those 3 divisions per hex across a couple hexes, which is their SOP, to make their own attacks. I think they're going to be hard pressed to accomplish that here, which is good. So we got another week of relief from any attacks there. Still have to determine what we're going to do with our axis of advance with Army Group Center's combat power, because it's getting stretched, and the more divisions are tasked to cover the flanks and hold the line, the more it takes away from our assault groups. So I have to make a decision on where we are going to attack next with Army Group Center. The options are to the east, towards Tula, where our panzer divisions are already placed to conduct that attack along that line, or I guess the theme is stretched lines. This week we have another stretched, our infantry is stretched out on another part of the front. The southern part of Army Group Center and the northern part of Army Group South are covering this wide span of the front, and it's just single divisions, really not accomplishing anything, holding the front, and that's not going to win us the war. So I may entertain the idea of using Army Group south, this great concentration of our combat power, and what combat power we can achieve here to break out towards Orel, and Army Group South break out towards Sumy and Kursk, and try to encircle these Soviet formations. We are going to do this in a phase, in phases. Army Group South is going to kick off, and depending on how well they do, will determine if we will commit Army Group Center towards that effort, which doesn't really disrupt the plans of Army Group South if we don't commit Army Group Center to that, because we will have achieved a breakout either way, and we can quickly adjust fire a little bit to the south and go for Kharkov, which we would like to take. The southern front of Army Group South, these sectors are held by our Axis Miners and 11th Army. Again, the theme, stretched out. This front is just too long and spaghetti-like. I want to straighten it where I can, and it's really kind of a even odds, but I think with deliberate attacks we can get the best of some of these Soviet divisions along this line. So that's the plan for this week, the second week of September. Oh, quickly talk about some good news. Reinforcements. These three divisions made it this far with rail movement and getting derailing and marching, and we attached them for the meantime to 53rd Corps. We actually had a cavalry brigade, which was a reinforcement, make it to the front. They are trailed by their brothers here, these two divisions, and I think those are the ones that made it the closest. Oh, and we still have all the way back, and we're limited by how much we can rail each week. So I am not going to march. They're going to wait for the railroads because I don't want to burn any fuel. I don't want to burn an ounce of their own fuel. So, believe it or not, we have some panzer divisions as reinforcements. So they will take priority for the next rail movement. We still have not you guys, which is the group. This group here, which was part of last week's reinforcements, they have to make it to the front, and these two divisions as well, and there was one more group right here. So we have a decent amount of reinforcements that are going to make it to the front over the next couple of weeks, which is going to help enormously. All right, so I will start doing the moves off camera, and we'll get back to you. All right, we're back, and let's get a situation report. The Finns are remaining in place, no change there. I believe the Finns will be slowly withdrawn on the reinforcement schedule, withdrawal and reinforcement schedule. So how that affects Army Group North, it remains to be seen. This mass of Soviets that continue to accumulate and stage here on Leningrad, if that frees them up, it's going to cause trouble for Army Group North. This sector of Army Group North, we continue the attack, and overall, the attacks were rather subpar. I think this is going to be our highest casualty count to date. These one-on-one attacks are good. We get some routes, but it's not really accomplishing anything operationally, and we have to do something about the operational and strategic situation sooner than later, and we can get to that in a little bit. Didn't do anything in the Pskov sector, just held in place. Really can't accomplish much. We're greatly outnumbered, and there's really no point in it. We would just push into this terrain, and that's just not advantageous for us right now. It would straighten the line, but I'm not worried about that right now too much. In the southernmost part of Army Group North, around Velikai Luki, we continued to attack. Lots of attacks, and again, not the best odds and not the best favorable attacks for us. Again, pushing back the Soviets, causing withdrawals, getting some routes, causing more casualties than we're receiving, but our casualty count is just too high in these localized attacks. So we'll probably reduce the number of attacks in this sector and start to shuffle troops down to get them more aligned with Army Group Center, because this flank is the northern flank of Army Group Center is not been threatened in the last 2 weeks, and the Soviets don't have the concentration right now to really cause any trouble. Maybe 1 or 2 attacks will happen during their turn. The Seoul Panzer Corps here, we made some attacks in this region. Again, pushing back the Soviets, causing some withdrawals, got a couple routes and mauled some divisions, but nothing really to write home about. Soviets are defending in depth here, and I think they're strongly placed for a good defense, but to conduct an offensive again along this sector of Army Group Center, I'm not too concerned. This is what we managed to achieve, and we might as well get to it. We were talking about, before I started to do the moves, where the axis of attack would be for Army Group Center. It turns out I want to try and accomplish a larger encirclement that we hadn't really been able to do since the first opening weeks of the war in the East. So we're going to combine Army Group Center and Army Group South, similar to what the Germans did historically, but in a little bit of a different place and at a different time. Well, roughly around this time it was happening. So we tried to break out a little bit in this area, and it wasn't the best because Army Group Center is starting to suffer for fuel, and our panzer divisions were not placed the best, and the Soviets had some pretty good had a pretty good defensive line here, but it's starting to get fragmented and cause casualties. Some routes really mauled some of these divisions. I think next 2 weeks it's going to be telling how we're going to position ourselves for the winter in 1942. If we get any kind of fuel, all right, 2%. We're on empty tanks right now. Losses weren't too high with our panzer divisions. Most of the losses came through the infantry. The tanks couldn't do much with very low fuel, but this is what we're trying to accomplish here, breaking through in the Orel sector. And Army Group South did a whole bunch of attacks. I mean, really, it doesn't look it, but a lot of these attacks are like 1 or 2 attacks in these hexes. And we are pushing our infantry to the very limits. And they did really good, but the Soviets were defending well. We cracked open the front. And the Soviets don't have much here really to threaten our southernmost flank. And Soviets aren't going to stick around to attack the northern part of our breakout, because they are going to start their retreat. I almost can guarantee that the next turn at a lightning speed, because they have, as the pattern for us during this opening months of the war, the Soviets are really anticipating getting encircled, and I think they have a much quicker response time and a much more flexible chain of command to give up their positions and retreat to save their skins. than it was historically. So they're going to recognize what's developing right now to their rear. And we may not be able to succeed at the scope and scale I'm hoping. I don't think we're going to get counterattacked as we're trying to conduct this encirclement using Army Group South and Army Group Center. But I think a lot more of these divisions are going to get away than we will hope for. I did a quick count, and there's like 30 divisions, and that's just counting the ones that we can identify that are up adjacent to our divisions. And if we look, this region right around here, maybe we can talk, in the history books that we're writing, in the history we're writing right now, the Svapa and the Samin rivers might be where we're about to meet if all goes well. So a nice breakout here. It took almost every ounce of our strength and our combat power just to accomplish this. And as we know, our Army Group South Panzer Corps have been extremely limited on fuel, so with full tanks we would have been easily another 50-60 miles, north and east, and the same goes with our panzers in Army Group Center. We would have been another 50-60 miles south and east, so we almost would have had an encirclement if it wasn't for fuel. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. It's shaping up. We're still too far. I think we're over 120 miles from the furthermost tanks between the two army groups. Again, no threat, I don't believe. I mean, definitely to the north, they're going to retreat. To the south, they're not strong enough to really push back any of our divisions, and they don't have the troops around them to mass to get the odds they need. Southern sector of Army Group South still remaining in place. We did attacks here and there where we could get a good attack on a single division of the Soviets, and we caused some good tank losses to them here, and there's one more. I think we routed a tank division as well. Finally, those two mechanized divisions of the Soviets surrendered, and we moved our Romanians as far east as we can get. And now we're starting to get in amongst them, and the Romanians are going to have more of an impact now. It was 17,000 Soviets surrendered just between those two divisions, and probably 50 to 60 tanks. So, not too bad here. Kind of par for the course. They have a fair amount of divisions, but maybe one or two places we'll see an attack on their part. I've gone around and done as much as I could as far as making sure everyone is in command and control and supply. I have more admin points that I know what to do with, but hopefully that stockpile will come in handy later on. So that's about it. One thing I'll point out. The reason one of our railroad repair engineers has not been able to do anything, reading through the rules, it's a little too far from a railhead, but I don't think that's the case, because this is a functional railhead right here, and there's a functional railhead up here, and this railroad engineer has not been able to do repair anything for the past couple of turns. This partisan did cause a disruption. Oh, wait. I will stand corrected. That is why. Yeah, this railroad engineer has not been able to do anything because it's... yeah. This is a functional railhead. It has not been broken. This rail damage here, rail damage here, rail damage here, and right here is where that partisan landed, and it really, I think, is affecting the fuel getting to us. So we're gonna have to do something about that. These automated railroad engineers just take forever to get anything done. So we're moving, I believe it's going to be this one, Foxtrot Bravo Delta 4 has not been able to do much repairing in the past couple of turns. So they're going to come down here and try and repair these isolated hexes that are damaged. And that's a concern because it affects supply and fuel is what's really curtailing any strong offensives right now for either army group. I'm going to take one last look, even though I've done that a whole bunch of times, and our rail capacity was exceeded. So these wonderful reinforcements, it's going to be a while before they make it to the front. There's about 9 divisions, I think, that are still sitting back in Germany, waiting for their turn to hop on trains and get up here. These 3 divisions will hopefully make it up into the front in the next couple of weeks. And we also had... Where did you go? Yeah, I didn't send any to Army Group Center. It was all Army Group North, Army Group North, Army Group Center. We're getting the reinforcements. Alright, I will take one more look and then we'll execute the Soviets' turn. Alright, did my checks for, I don't know, the 4th time. It's getting tight here. It's... If we can pull this off, it is going to be magnificent. That'll give us a huge breathing room and put the Soviets on their heels because they will lose all these divisions that will really be that they would use for defense from Kiev all the way up to Bryansk, and that's a probably 150-200 mile front. They will be without these troops, but I don't think we're going to have the fuel to accomplish it. I think our infantry will probably advance just as fast as our tanks, but we're going to do it because we have to do it. That's our best course of action to cause as much damage as we can to the Soviets before it starts to get cold in the east and winter comes. I think our tanks, I think it might be a little rainy and muddy because our movement was not as... our movement factors were affected, I think, by weather this turn. Alright, let's get to it. I always regret doing that. What are they gonna do? All right. Are they coming or going? Are you pulling back? I wouldn't mind that if they pull back. It's not like we're going to encircle them there. Are they pulling back? Yeah, we pulled back our 56 Panzer Corps into Velikai Luki. They weren't making any headway, and they were low on fuel as well. Hold in place, Soviets, hold in place. Oh, I didn't show our losses. Doggone it, I didn't show our losses. Oh, here they go, getting away. Look at that. Look at them. Oh, man. Can we cut them off? I don't think so. We might be able to. We just might. Yeah, that's where they have the greatest buildup, is in the north here. We held both times. Good for you. Good for you. Wow. Huh, I didn't expect them to try to do that. We have a Panzer Corps there. Maybe we can try and get a small encirclement on those 6 divisions here. Whoa! They really pulled troops out. Wow, they decided to stay. Interesting. Just have so many divisions. I think rather than pulling out, they're going to try and pressure us. If we can sustain their attacks for the next couple of weeks and they don't pull out, then we may get that encirclement. We'll be able to pull it off. Definitely going to pull. There's no point attacking in there. Wow, look at those stacks. Yeah, we're going to go on to the defensive Army Group North and maybe pull a infantry corps out and shift it into Army Group Center's area of operations. That was it. You know, some attacks, some strong attacks. It's a little troubling seeing that they can still mount those attacks after all the losses they have taken. Yeah, almost 12,000 tanks they've lost. 20,000 men. We lost more, but still, it is adding up. Those reinforcements can't get here soon enough. Okay. They lost 187,000 men this turn. Wow. That was just standard attacks, no encirclement. Oh, I'm sorry. 1,804,000. I was getting excited for a second. Only 56 to our 20. It's almost an even trade, and we definitely cannot afford even trades. We lost 218 tanks. Oh boy. Yeah, it's been a honestly disconcerting, but oh, not happy about that. 218 tanks. Where are they coming from mostly? Where are they coming from? I don't think this equals 218. Not even close. Nonetheless, not a bad couple of weeks for the Soviets. This encirclement really has to happen. And we'll see how we can make it happen. Let's take a quick look. How many have... Oh, wow, they remained in place. And they pulled back. Yeah, we gotta risk it. Oh, there's a gap here. Yeah. Yes, just in the nick of time, I think. Just in the nick of time. A corps worth of infantry. Ooh, boy. Not bad here. I think we can go a little light and shift the forces down, and we gotta plug this, because this has to happen. These tanks still have, they have to attack. Ooh, just some mauled divisions, and yeah, a lot of them got away already. Hey. Oh, gosh. Yeah. It's gonna come... Oh, 14. Come on, man. Yeah. Unfortunate. What are they trying to do? Interesting. Being a great big nuisance, that's what they're doing. Alright, well, we have to carry on. It's an unbroken line of Soviet divisions. Here is where we're going to have to do our damage. I don't think it's going to be enough, but 1941, we just have to do the best we can, destroy as many Soviets as we can, and set ourselves up in a good position without taking unnecessary losses, and look for 1942 to be the year where we make our killing blow on the Soviets. But a lot of 1941 left, still in September, so we will... Oh, good. I have another division that can come in, and there's one here as well. Okay. Yeah, reinforcements are coming, and I think we will pull this off. Alright. enough ruminating. I hope you enjoyed, and it's getting interesting. It has been getting more and more interesting. I hope you're enjoying, and I can't wait to get to the next turn. This is First Fire, non-assault move out.